Assalamualaikum. Welcome to our week 2 lecture for the subject 221 ethics. From our previous discussion, it is clear to us that in ethics, it talks about good and bad actions, no? But how can we determine good and bad action? Natanong na din natin yan last discussion, no? Kailan natin masasabi na ang isang action or ang isang action, ang isang idea, ang isang yun nga, decision is bad or good. Let us take the example or the action, halimbawa, the action lying, pagsisinungaling, di ba? So, we all know, it's a rule of the thumb, no? Na we can say that lying is bad or masama ang magsinungaling, no? Pero ano yung basis natin? What would be our basis in saying that lying is bad or lying is wrong? So, why do we value lying is a bad action? Bakit tayo naniniwala or why do we grow up strongly believing that lying is a bad action? What is the source that will tell us why lying is bad? Of course, many of us will certainly answer the obvious set of standards that we have like law, religion, and culture. So we will say na pwede natin sabihin na masama ang magsinungaling kasi it's against the law. 'Di ba? Labag sa batas ang magsinungaling. Others will say, pwede rin natin sabihin na lying is prohibited in our religion. In any religion naman siguro, hindi masama rather ang pagsisinungaling, no? So 'yun. Some will also even declare that it's not acceptable in their culture. Sa culture nila, halimbawa, sa Maranao culture, lying is bad, mga ganon. So, diyan natin matatanong, no? Can we consider law, religion, and culture to be the source of authority in ethics? So, in this lesson, that will be our focus. We will answer the question if law, religion, and culture can be the source of authority in ethics. So let us try to analyze each of these sets of standards. So this will be the question. Can law, religion, and culture be the source of authority and ethics? So this will be the focus of today's discussion. We will find out if alin sa tatlo or if itong tatlong ito, law, religion, and culture, is pwedeng maging source of authority in ethics. When I say source of authority, pwedeng maging basis or maging guidelines in deciding whether an action is bad or good. First one, law, or yung batas. Can a law be a source of authority in ethics? Pwede kaya natin gawing basis in considering a bad or good action ang batas? So on the surface, we can easily say that yes, law can be the source of authority in ethics because it is the law that guides every country in this world. So pinagbabawal niya yung mga bagay-bagay na hindi dapat gawin. No? At saka halos lahat naman ng country may batas or may law. So, it does not allow bad actions. Law can easily claim that actions, halimbawa like stealing or pagnanakaw or murder, are unethical because it is prohibited or it is against the law. Madali lang sabihin ng isang commonly known bad action is unlawful or unethical kasi it is against the law. An action is considered good if it is allowed, it's not against, or it's not prohibited by law. Very simple, no? So, parang law seems to be a good source of authority in ethics, no? Parang okay siya kasi it prohibits bad behaviors. It prohibits bad actions and it allows good actions or good behaviors. But let us not stop there. Let us try to dig deep and let us analyze it further. In the Philippines, meron tayong batas that family members who steal from you may not be criminally liable. So yung nakikita nyo sa picture, no, itong batang ito, he is trying to steal his grandma's spare change. When you say spare change, mga barya, no? He's trying to steal, no? So in the Philippines daw, accordingly, actually may batas nandiyan sa screen natin. Okay lang daw, or it's not a criminal offense, not criminally liable ang family member kapag within the family din siya nagnakaw, no? So ayun, according to Article 332 of the Revised Penal Code of the Philippines, states that persons exempt from criminal liability in the event of the crimes of theft, swindling, or malicious mischief include spouses, asawa, of relatives, by affinity in the same line, the widowed spouse with respect to the property that belonged to the deceased spouse and brother and sisters, or brothers-in-law and sisters-in-law. So, this means that stealing is permitted only to your family members. Yun, nasa batas yun na okay lang within the family na magnakawan sila. It does not have criminal liability. So you can steal from them. But imagine, if the law will be the source of authority in ethics, will you agree with this kind of rule or with this kind of law? Halimbawa, na okay lang sa'yo? Ethical ba na magnakaw kahit na within the family members lang? So perhaps, we should think that ethics does not simply identify, or it does not simply means na pagsunod sa batas. Hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na ethical siya kasi it is not against the law. So we cannot simply say that, no? So remember that, ayun, what is legal is not necessarily moral. Hindi dahil pwede sa batas, pwede rin nating i-consider na moral. Kasi again, we have different cultures, we have different religions that we will be discussing on the following slides. So, yun. Ethics does not simply identify it with the obedience of the law. So, yun. Nasagot yung question natin na can a law be source of authority in ethics? So, no. Cannot be. Hindi siya pwede maging source of authority in ethics. Yun nga, because hindi lahat ng legal actions pwedeng i-accept na morally right. What is legal is not necessarily moral. Let us move on. Another one. Can religion be a source of authority in ethics? So, religion. In religion, alam naman natin, we all know that it talks about what is pleasing and not pleasing in the eyes of God. It tells us that if it is pleasing in the eyes of God, then it is good. And if it is not pleasing, then it is bad. No? Religion greatly contributes to molding their faith to be good. So, in religion, the divinity called God, Allah, or Supreme Being commands, and one is obliged to obey his or her creator. That is according to divine command theory. Divine command theory are one of the moral theories that we will be discussing in this subject sooner or later. Okay? So, religion greatly contributes to our beliefs, of course. So, we members of particular religions, halimbawa tayong mga Muslim, we are guided by the Holy Quran, no? The other religions, they are also guided with their divine scriptures. So they have their Bibles, the Ten Commandments for the Catholics. For us, we have Quran. So these scriptures gives these specific religions their guiding principle on how to be a good person. So, bawat religion, they have their scriptures kung saan doon sila nagbe-base, parang yun yung nagiging guideline nila on what to believe as good and bad. No? So, it simply tells us that to become a good person, we must avoid everything that is written to be bad in that scripture. So, when we look closer, we will realize that most of our laws, if you'll try to analyze, no? Karamihan sa mga batas natin, mapapansin natin na we can see that religion has a strong case to be the source of authority in ethics. So, yon. Parang mostly ng mga batas natin or ng mga rules natin is mas doon sa side or mas strong siya na source of authority when it comes to religion. But then again, let us analyze it further, no? Halimbawa, no? Let us assume tayo, that religion is the source of authority in ethics. So, if this will happen, it will lead us to more confusion. Bakit? Kasi, there are multiple number of religion. Ang dami-daming religion in the world, no? In the world in general. There are thousands of religions in the world. So, the problem lays on which among these thousands of religions is the ultimate source of authority in ethics. So doon na naman magkakaroon ng problem, ng issue. Alin sa libo-libong religion na ito yung ifa-follow natin na maging source of ethics? No? So, one religion may say that they are the ultimate source of authority. But of course, definitely, other religions will claim that also. So, bawat isa is magpapagaling na hindi kami dapat ang source of authority kasi ganito, ganyan. So, magkakaroon ng debate, magkakaroon ng confusion, mas magiging magulo, no? So, here in the Philippines, halimbawa, makikita na natin na may conflict sa religion. It is very rampant in some places in the Philippines that some religious groups are being discriminated. Actually, we have experienced that firsthand during the siege, di ba? So, this kind of problem could clarify, yun pa lang, it can tell us that religion cannot be the source of authority in ethics. Kasi mas lalong magiging magulo. Another problem is it may bring us that there are people who are atheists. Atheists, they are those persons who do not believe in deities, who do not believe in God. Pero, they do good actions. Mababait silang tao, no? They do not commit crimes or big crimes just because they do not believe in God. So, how can we say that religion is the source of authority in ethics? If may mga tao na hindi naniniwala sa religion, pero they do good actions, mababait, or maganda naman yung behavior nila. Di ba? So, this is why we do not bring religion into the arguments of ethics. No? So, yun, nasagot na that we cannot consider religion to be a source of authority in ethics. Kasi unang-una, there are thousands of religions in the world, and it will be chaotic if we will only choose one. No? And pangalawa, there are people who do not believe in God but still do good actions. Okay? Ito yung last. Can culture be the source of authority in ethics? Culture. Halimbawa sa atin, we have our Marianao culture. So, culture sets standards in our community. No? Our exposure to different societies and their cultures makes us aware that there are ways of thinking and valuing that are different from our own. That there is, in fact, a wide diversity in how different people believe it is proper to act. Therefore, what is ethically acceptable or unacceptable is relative to, or that is to say, dependent on one's culture. I have already mentioned this in our previous video discussion na our beliefs, beliefs of what is good and bad, what is moral and immoral, is sometimes or most of the time dependent on our culture, no? So culture sets standards in our community. Halimbawa sa atin in this sa Marawi, our Maranao culture, yun yung nagiging standard natin kasi this place is a community of Maranao people. So it tells the community what we should do and not to do. Philippine culture, for example, sees that most of our culture, we believe that okay lang, it is moral for a man and a woman to live together after they get married, di ba? Sa Philippine culture naman talaga is yun. We believe that, or we perceive as good kapag kasal muna bago magsama. But in other countries or other culture, Western culture to be exact, is they're okay with living together even though they're not married, di ba? So it seems that culture could be a source of authority in ethics. But with the great number of different cultures in the world, same with religion, there will be different standards, no? Katulad sa religion, there are thousands of religions in the world. What much more sa culture? Mas marami siguro yung variety of cultures in the world. Example of this tribe, the Namibian tribes. This tribe, the Ovahimba and Ovazimba tribes, they have a unique culture. So, yun, when a visitor comes knocking, a man shows his approval and pleasure of seeing his guest by giving him the Okohepesa Makazendo treatment. And this treatment or this practice literally means that his wife is to be given to his guest to spend the night, while the husband sleeps in another room. So this means that the wife, halimbawa yung lalaki, may asawa siya, then may dumating na bisita nung lalaki, ang ginagawa nila as showing treatment, good treatment, pleasure, approval of the visitor, the man or the husband lets his wife to spend the night with that guest. No? So, in other cultures, sa kanila, to be specific, this kind of practice is okay lang. Pero, most of the cultures, I think, this will be considered unacceptable or much more immoral, di ba? But, we are not in the position to say that. Wala tayo sa position na sabihan sila na that is unacceptable, that is immoral. Because that is their own culture. And we have also our own culture, no? So we cannot deny the fact that culture is something relative to us. It means that we can say it is good or bad depending on one's culture. So we cannot just simply tell them that stop that is good, that is bad, no? Because that is their own culture. Wala tayong pakialam sa culture nila. This brings us to the same criticism that religion face, no? Due to the multiplicity of culture, which culture is the standard in ethics, yun, magkakaroon din ng problem with the numbers of cultures kung saan yung ifa-follow natin. Magkakagulo-gulo yan. So we must bear in mind that the standard of ethics must be universal. So yun yung kailangan natin i-consider in identifying the source of authority. Dapat applicable siya sa lahat, no matter what religion, no matter what culture, no? It must be acceptable for you and me, even if we have different culture, even if we have different religion. So that is why culture cannot be the source of authority in ethics. Same with law and religion. Culture, hindi din sila pwedeng maging source of authority in ethics. Now, we are faced with this question. What is the source of authority in ethics then? If law, culture, and religion is not acceptable, cannot be the source of authority in ethics. So ethicists would confer that the source of authority in ethics must be common to all. Yun. Kailangan applicable siya sa lahat. No matter what religion, no matter what culture. It must be something universal. So let us try to see, ano nga ba yung common sa ating lahat? What is common to all men that makes us also unique from other creatures? Ano yung meron yung lahat ng tao, regardless of culture, regardless of religion, na tayo lang yung meron from other creatures. When we say other creatures, from animals, from plants, from non-living creatures. Ano yun? One of us would agree that what is common to all men is our ability to reason. No? Actually, nami-mention din yan sa, if you do read yung sa yung mga Fazail, ganon, nami-mention doon na sa mga taalimba, if familiar kayo sa ganon, nami-mention din doon na what sets us apart from other creatures that God had made is our ability to reason. No? There is no other creature that can reason out. Tayong mga tao lang. The reason then is the source of authority in ethics. So ayun, nasagot na. It is not the law, it is not the religion, nor the culture could be the source of authority. It is our ability to reason. Let us discuss why reason is the source of authority. Let us see how reason works in ethics. No? I-prove natin, kailangan nating i-prove na ito talaga, reasoning talaga yung source of authority, no? Have you ever asked yourself, katulad ni Patrick at saka ni SpongeBob, why am I not stealing goods? Bakit hindi ako nagnanakaw? Or bakit hindi ka nagnanakaw? Una nating maiisip na answer would be, I do not steal because, sa kapag mga bata, no, I'm afraid that I can get punished and I don't like to be punished, di ba? Pag bata tayo, may mga most of the reason why we avoid behaving badly kasi ayaw nating mapalo, ayaw nating mapunish, no? So yun yung mga initial answer. Or kapag tayo na malaki na, we do not want to go to jail, of course, di ba? But this reason is it's too shallow, masyado namang mababaw. So man realizes that we must be able to give a good reason. So, diyan na, reasoning na, diyan na papasok. That will be acceptable to all, something that would make sense. So, a better answer to that question, why am I not stealing goods, or bakit hindi tayo nagnanakaw, is that because it is wrong, stealing is wrong, because it violates the principle of fairness and the respect of others' property. It is not because it's against the law, it's not because it is against the religion, it's not because it is not acceptable in a culture. It is because we think deep, we find questions, we find answer to the question why, we reason, and we will come to a realization that it will violate the principle of fairness. Magiging unfair tayo sa ibang tao. And mawawala yung respect sa others' property, yung respeto natin. No? Ito is pwede natin i-consider as principle ng isang tao or prinsipyo ng isang tao. This principle becomes the ground of our judgment that justifies our decisions. Kapag nakabuild na tayo ng prinsipyo natin sa sarili natin, diyan na mag-start na lahat ng decision making natin, i-base natin sa kung ano yung prinsipyo na pinaniniwalaan natin as a person. So this moral principle is established in moral theory. Again, moral theory is a system of ideas which is used to evaluate our valuing of actions and our concluding decision, or paano tayo mag-decide on a certain action. Yun, yung theory, moral theory. These are theories na it will guide us to evaluate our actions if it is good or bad. Moral theory, of course, again, will be the center of this course, ethics. And the succeeding lessons will be centering on moral theories. So, mga susunod na lessons natin, yun yung pag-aaralan natin. Theories in ethics, moral theories. Okay, so we have assessment number 2. Diba yung una assessment number 1 last week? So ito yung assessment number 2 natin. Comment on the rampant vote buying practice of the people of Lanao. We cannot deny the fact na nagiging normal or nagiging acceptable na sa culture nating mga Maranao ang vote buying. Yung iba pa nga, tabi-tabuong. Inaabangan pa yan. Malayo pang election nagpaplano na next election kay bibili ako ng cellphone, ng bagong cellphone, ng laptop, no? Tabi-tabo, no? So, I want you to comment on that action or on that case about vote buying in our place, in our culture to be exact, no? Explain your answer based on the sets of standards that we have. Law, religion, and culture. So, you will answer based on the 3. Halimbawa, if your comment is vote buying is okay, then support it with these standards. Or if your answer is vote buying is wrong, why it is wrong against the law, or why it is against religion, or why it is against culture, or what is the state of vote buying practice in law. Of course, sa batas, pinagbabawal man talaga. In religion, I'm not sure, that is debatable. Marami akong naririnig na nagde-debate na it's okay kasi ganito ganyan. Yung iba naman it's no, it's not okay. So, you have to comment on that. And culture. Maranao culture, I'm not sure if it is acceptable or what. Hindi rin ako sure. So, you will comment on that situation. You will explain your answer. Pwedeng in a paragraph or 2. I will actually accept Tagalog answers or Taglish. I would prefer that over copy-pasted answer actually. So long as you make sure na it is your own idea. Again, to remind you, class, na I will run your essays or your answers on a plagiarism checker online. I have a software na ma-identify doon kung saang link mo kinuha yung idea na yan. So, please be careful. And if I found out that you have copy-pasted 50% of your answer, I would not consider your assessment. You will not be graded, no? So, again, same with last week, turn in your answer on the Edmodo assignment post for this week's assessment. So, i-turn in nyo lang doon. Mag-answer lang kayo doon. I do not have a specific number of words or a number of sentences. All I want is to get your idea, get your opinion about this case or this situation. Okay? And I think that's it. That ends today's discussion. Thank you for listening. I hope talagang nakikinig kayo or nanonood kayo. Kasi again, I do not plan to give you handouts. I want you to take notes. Katulad ng mga kapag normal na classes na you have to listen to your teacher, no? Kasi nakakapagod din yung ginagawa namin. Nag-lecture kami, nag-discuss kami ng walang audience. Kung alam nyo lang. I think alam nyo naman siguro, ano? So, yan. That ends our lesson today. For our bonus activity, yes, may mga bonus activity tayo. This is exclusive for those students na talaga nanonood, no? In the comment section ng YouTube, baka mamaya magtatanong naman kayo, ma'am, saan ilalagay yung answer? Sa Edmodo ba or what? Dito po sa YouTube video na ito. Para isahan yung pag-check ko, no? Mag-comment kayo dito ng isang na-observe nyo or alam nyo or something trivial na, let's say, about religion, about culture or law na you think unethical pero approved by the law, or you think immoral but approved by a certain religion, or you think bad behavior siya pero okay lang sa isang culture. Magbigay lang kayo ng example, no? Halimbawa, wag niyo nang gamitin ito. Halimbawa, in our religion, it is acceptable to marry for kapag lalaki ka, no? Okay lang mag-asawa ng 4 yung lalaki given na equally yung treatment. But, na-mention ko na to actually before, but in other religion and even culture, for them, it is immoral. So, that is an example. Kayo din, in the comment section, magbigay din kayo ng halimbawa ng alam nyo, not necessarily na culture nyo, religion, yung alam nyo lang, or pwede kayong mag-search ng mga religion or culture or law, kasi ba yung mga batas din na hindi natin alam na acceptable sa batas, pero kung i-realize natin pwede siyang maging immoral or unethical, no? Magbigay lang kayo ng isa. So, that would be a bonus point for your activities. And remember, malaki yung percentage ng activities nyo kasi it also serves as your attendance. So, again, that's all. Thank you so much for listening. Assalamualaikum.